Alright guys, Touchgripper here again today, and there's a fair few things to talk about. The Pro League yesterday was ram-packed with Game 5s. It went one less map than it could have done the entire night, so impressive stuff from the guys there. Difficult to call. We'll go through that latter half of the video. First of all, I wanted to talk about a few things that came out over the last day or so, especially involving the OpTic Gaming situation. Of course, we haven't heard much of this story for a rather long time at this point. It was meant to be finalised by the end of May, and then Adam Fitch from Esports Insider said it was going to be stretching a little bit further on than that, and now we've got supposedly a source that says that the deal is done, but yet Hector is still fighting for control and to try and revitalise the OpTic Gaming brand and bring it back under his own control. So we will just have to see how it goes, but that's what I want to talk about today. So I'd like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. And firstly, just a quick story here from Charlie Intel based on the new Modern Warfare campaign. Supposedly it's so mental in terms of killing civilians and all this madness that there's like a collateral damage score, so however many civilians you kill you get points knocked off, and apparently some playtesters have cried over some scenes in the game, so it seems like a pretty big deal. I may actually be playing the campaign this year, which I haven't done for a while. So Infinite Warfare was pretty decent, but Black Ops 3 trash. And before that, then I did play them, but yeah, interesting. So let's move onwards here. We have this from Jake Lucky over at Esports Talk. Has a great channel. I'm sure some of you watch it if you're interested in more general esports stuff rather than just Call of Duty. And yes, I'll leave his video linked down below if you want to check it out. Doesn't really say much more than what's in this particular tweet, but yes. So apparently, the inside source says that the OpTic deal is done. Infinite Esports has been sold onto Immortals. And they supposedly, therefore, have current control of all of the OpTic Gaming related brands. They have the Houston Outlaws, they have the LCS team, which is obviously their crucial one. That's why, really, Immortals wanted to buy Infinite so they could get the spot in the League of Legends Championship Series. But I don't think they're too interested in the other teams, because they already have, I believe, the LA Valiant, which is their Overwatch team, and of course OpTic Infinite Esports have the Houston Outlaws, so they will have to sell that to somebody. And also Counter-Strike, Immortals own MIBR, made in Brazil, the Brazilian guys, so they can't have the OpTic CSGO team either, so they're going to have to be sold on to someone. Now supposedly Hector is interested in purchasing back these teams. Pretty tragic state of affairs how he sold his baby, I guess, in OpTic Gaming onto Infinite Esports, and just a couple of years later he's having to buy it back, probably at a loss, to keep it alive. But I'm sure you guys as OpTic fans, those of you who are, would prefer it to be that way than it for it to completely disintegrate, because of course there was a rumour that if this happens they may sell the rosters onto other organisations, etc. But you know, Hector seems to have been getting some people together in his vlogs and that, like Chris Cheney and those sort of guys, to build up some investment to really put a good bid in for OpTic here and try and get, I'm sure the CoD team is one of his major focuses. I don't think the CoD team would be ridiculously expensive, but of course because Immortals know that Hector really, really wants to get these teams back, they can charge him a lot of money, you know, so it may not be so easy for him to buy back everything. I'm sure CoD is right up there on the top of his list, maybe the Houston Outlaws as well, but, you know, if CoD is at the top of his agenda, then it seems relatively likely, I suppose, that he would be able to buy it back under the OpTic brand. As to what happens to the rest of the teams, we don't know right now, but supposedly the deal is done and Hector is still fighting to get his hands back on these OpTic Gaming teams that Immortals don't particularly want, because they're interested in the League of Legends spot mostly. So we'll just have to see how it goes, but a quick update for you guys because we haven't touched on that in a very long time. So moving onwards here, we have a tweet from Trey Morris 0. Actually, it should be the other way around. Whatever. I've scheduled a scrim vs LG at least 8 times this year. 1 time we've played they were late. The other 7 times they either don't show up or not awake. Actually losing it. There's been a couple of tweets about this, and maybe I'll touch on this in the future, but one thing that people are talking about with franchising next year, people are going to start getting fined if they show up late to scrims, because I can't imagine how frustrating it is to be a pro and be chilling there waiting to play a scrim series and the other guys don't even turn up. We've heard a lot about it earlier this season. Before we get into the Pro League, I wanted to mention that the Call of Duty Gamepedia account is currently temporarily restricted. Some of you guys may use this on Twitter to keep up with the results of the Pro League and keep up with roster change moves as they happen before I get the opportunity to make a video on it. But it's been temporarily restricted and suspended. Now, maybe restricted is a better word than suspended, because effectively a couple of times in the past, because Nick and the other guys that do the graphics and make the tweets, because they tweet very regularly and super often, Twitter has before suspended the account or restricted the account for a couple of hours because of suspicious robot activity. For some reason, this time it's gone another step and it's been temporarily restricted. Maybe it hit a certain amount of strikes and now it's been restricted for I don't know how long. We have no idea. Nick seems to have got in contact with the guys. He filed a Twitter, I don't know, support DM or complaint or something like that. And they basically said, yeah, like, it seems like you're a robot. There's nothing we can do about it. So obviously we need to get some sort of contacts over at Twitter to help us out with this, because obviously it's not run by robots. And also another issue may be that because Nick always DMs us or quite often on the accounts to find out what our predictions are for that day and then never responds to our DMs, it may be a thing like it looks like he's just DMing and then never replying, and then that maybe looks suspicious activity. So hopefully we can get that sorted out, but we'll just have to see, because it's not looking particularly promising right now. So anyway, let's go on with the Pro League here. So yesterday, first series of the day, Denial versus Heretics. And this was a fun one. It went all the way to Game 5, as the first 3 series of the day did. So I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker than usual, because otherwise it'll take us about, 24 hours. So yes, Metals Unlucky go off map number 1. This is a thing for Denial. I thought they would take this in a Game 5. I thought they'd just win the Game 5. But they actually lose both hardpoints in this series, which something that's very much impressed me about Heretics the last couple of days. They've been winning their hardpoints and they've been clutching up in their Game 5 search and destroy. So you've got to respect it. Map number 1 was comfortable for Heretics. Game 2, Denial managed to take it 6-3. Brack just going off, man. And honestly, like, Brack and Alex were playing 2v5 this series, because, wow, Rated Banter Joe did not have the best series. We'll have a look at that when we see the final scoreboards. Courtesy for these scoreboards go to Cam Allen. I think they're absolutely gorgeous right now. Go check out his Twitter link down below. If you want to give him a follow, I'm sure he'd greatly appreciate it. And also going to use some other little series summaries by EasyMac, and you all know EasyMac. We've talked about him for many an episode. So yeah, Game 3 goes to the control. Denial managed to take it. Very close 4-fair actually. Heretics really had the advantage in a couple of these rounds, but Denial clutched up and took it. Brack goes 28-14. Rated has 8 kills. Not bad at all. And obviously very lopsided in the kill department over here on Denial. And this is not a sign of like a great team, So definitely interesting. And Brack, I'm sure, is going to have a lot of offers from different teams post Anaheim. And once those offers come in, I think he would be, I think it's going to be difficult for him to refuse a lot of those offers. And when that happens, I think this, not Denial team is going to be in a bit of a state. So yes, map number 4. Heretics win this one to take it all the way to a Game 5. Some better slaying out the side of Denial here, but or not Denial, but it doesn't really help them. And then Game 5, run away by... actually, we don't have a scoreboard for that, unfortunately, but yeah, Heretics pretty much run away with it in a 6-2 fashion. Brack drops 12 kills, 1.7 KD. Not good enough. They win the Hacienda Surge, which Heretics have been pretty damn good on, all things considered, over the course of it. And honestly, just not pretty from Denial. This is the final series scoreboard, if it'll ever load in just a second. Here we go. Sorry for the white screen, just a second. Brack has 101 kills over the series, a 1.57 overall adjusted KD. But just not good enough, mate. Just not good enough for a series victory. As you can see, the hard carries in Alex and Brack, just not good enough. And Heretics put up a pretty solid team effort. Methodjaw is expecting to drop pretty lackluster numbers on the Sorg. But even then, his .82 was better than 3 players on the side of Denial. So that's not pretty, but it's possible that, Brack and Alex are playing in a fashion which doesn't help the rest of their team. I'm not saying it's overwhelmingly, that they're just completely hard carrying and the rest of the team are just costing. Not necessarily like that. Banson Joe on the Sorgs obviously baiting, but I don't really know what Rated is doing to have a .63 AKD, but, we'll have to see how it goes over the next couple of weeks. Series 2 of the day, we have Elevate versus eUnited, and this was a very surprisingly fun series. Elevate yesterday, having lost to Heretics in a Game 5 fashion where I thought they would win, they actually pull out a hell of a form here in the hardpoints, especially versus eUnited. kind of maybe shows how good Heretics are, because like Heretics did very well yesterday. I think they won both hardpoints yesterday against Elevate, and Elevate won both hardpoints here against eUnited. Pretty ridiculous, to be honest. 250 to 239 map number 1. Very, very close indeed. Skies went off, and yeah, they closed it out. eUnited made a little bit of a comeback towards the end. It actually got very, very close, down to the wire, and yeah, it didn't quite work out for them. Game 2, eUnited answer back, but it was a 5-3 advantage for Elevate, where if they'd have won, they'd have been clear favourites going into the rest of the series, but they do throw it away. Impressive clutches from the likes of eUnited, kind of what you expect from a top team, you know, when a team like Elevate is up 5-3 against an eUnited, quite often you expect that eUnited to at least bring it back a little bit. So yeah, impressive that they ended up winning this map, and then going into game number 3, we had a very, very swift victory for eUnited in this one. Took it all the way to the game 4, no real competition. Clayster and Sim went off this map, Beezy as well, and yeah, I mean, this was just incredibly comfortable in the control. eUnited looking very, very strong in that game mode right now. And then game number 4, somehow Elevate take it again. Breezy just goes off. You can basically bank on him to go off one map a series at the very least. Honestly, incredible given the slaying that eUnited were even able to make this so close. But yeah, once again, you see an unbelievably lopsided kill-death department ratio on the side of Elevate here. Now, maybe if this was EKIA, it would be evening out a little bit more, so it's somewhat difficult to tell how much impact people were having on the kills, but I guess damage is a better indicator, and yeah, the damage is also very lopsided, whereas eUnited are keeping it right down the middle, even though they did lose the map, so maybe I'm just talking rubbish. And yes, game number 5, eUnited run away with it. Impressive stuff. The Search and Destroy finally came to the fore. Once again, Simp doesn't have the best series we've ever seen from him, and yeah, okay, these are the final scoreboards. Breezy just goes off map 2 and 4, but wasn't quite enough for Elevate, but still very impressive from them, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this team down below, because honestly, a surprisingly impressive team, and you know, Skies and Breezy are the 2 hard carries for this squad right now, honestly playing out of their minds a lot of the time. I mean, even though I said Simp didn't have the best series, he did still have a 1.16 overall with the Sorg in hand, but it's obviously not possible to keep up an incredible stat line on the role he has, but still very, very impressive that he's able to put up these numbers even when you felt like he wasn't exactly having that much impact this series, which is just incredible. Pristini went off, fair play to him, and Clayster had a good map in the Search especially as well. So, moving onwards, Enigma 6 versus 100 Thieves, close series overall, went to a game 5 once again. 100 Thieves not looking quite as strong, but I feel like Enigma 6 are a team that they really can just turn up and win at any point. They have a lot of very talented players. Jet Li went off map number 1, wasn't to be. 100 Thieves closed it out. Their hardpoint has been, of course, very, very solid. In the Search and Destroy, though, Enigma 6 took it 6-3. I actually thought that, 100 Thieves had the advantage here. They were up 3-2 at one point. It looked very promising for them, but yeah, Enigma 6 brought it all the way back. Frosty 11-6. He loves having that sniper in his hand, and he's been very impressive with that. His movement is just his Halo kids, man. They're just unbelievable. And yes, in the control, 100 Thieves ran away with it. Impressive map from Priester. He was really looking much better this series because he didn't have the best series yesterday against eUnited. And then map 4, Enigma 6 take it as well. Honestly, remarkable stuff, really. Somehow these hardpoints are going the favour of the underdogs in the last couple of days. Division B is very exciting in terms of the teams match up very, very well. But I was always favouring 100 Thieves into a game 5 here. I feel like in these game 5s, the teams that are expected to win, right now, they really do tend to have that clutch factor and show why they are the better team. So yeah, Slasher and Priester have great final maps. And yeah, once again, Octane not having the best series we've ever seen. So this is the final series, the overview, I guess. And yeah, Priester is the MVP of the 2 really crucial maps here in that control and the final payload Search and Destroy to close it out. And yeah, these are the overall series scoreboards. I mean, once again, Octane 74 kills on the ICR, not doing an incredible amount of work, but this series Priester just completely turned up 107 kills over the course of the series. And yeah, that's enough for 100 Thieves to run out winners over Enigma 6. Moving on to the final series of the day, we had Splyce versus Envy, and this is a very fun one. Finally had Nolson in the driving seat here instead of Accuracy. And yes, first map, Envy do end up taking it, despite Splyce having a nice lead to start with. Then game 2, closed out by Nolson with a nice 2-piece to finish it off. And yeah, game 3, honestly, this game should have gone to Envy, but that map too, or maybe not should have gone to Envy, but there were definitely a lot of advantages that Envy had that they threw away in this one, which is just classic from Envy, really, what we've seen from them as of late. Temp went absolutely off. He seems to be pulling up the Maddox a little bit more and just absolutely destroying people with it. It's honestly crazy how good this guy is. And Aqua goes off on this map number 4 as well. They completely crushed him on that Hacienda, and looking a lot better with Nolson on the team. He played great in this series on the whole, and gotta be very impressed with them, to be honest. Very interesting, you know, I think Temp was saying that, you know, accuracy really was chemistry issues on the team, that they couldn't get along together. With Nolson on the team, you're not going to have any of that. And yes, Aqua on this main ICR seems to be much more in his comfort zone. Temp's dropped 96 kills. You know, what more can you ask? He's just an absolute monster. And yeah, look at these series MVPs, what Cam Allen's put up here. So honestly, very impressive stuff. There was a few funny moments in that as well from Temp. They got him on the desk afterwards. It was quality stuff. I'll probably leave that, or one of those clips, as an outro to this video. But yeah, these are the games for tonight. Elevate, 100 Thieves, Denial eUnited, Heretics, Splyce, and Envy versus Enigma 6. So some more fun ones. Tune in from 12 PM Pacific time, 3 PM Eastern time, 8 PM British summertime at twitch.tv/CallOfDuty. And yeah, hope to see you there. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching until and I will see you next time.
Why'd you decide to switch to full-time medics?
You see that? That's why. That gun is broken, bro. I'm literally crack aiming everywhere, bro. Like, come on. You need an entry? I'm there. Crack aimed? Like, that's the most OP gun I've ever seen. That's why I'm running the Maddox.
What happened in that gunfight where you smoked Pharaoh with the snipe out?
You don't get recoil. You don't get no recoil on the crack aim. Cross map crack aiming. No one is touching me, bro. So simple as that.
All right.
Do you think that you're a bigger glitch on the map than Hook?
Yes. Yeah, look at that series.
He's got to be. Hook had a good game 1. Tiny did 2, and then he just took over.
Are you the best player in the game right now?
Yes. What? You see the crack aim?